Hello and welcome to 5-Minute Math. Today we are looking at the Algebra 1 concept of rate of change. This is standard A.3B in the great state of Texas, and we are using item number 36 of the 2021 released STAAR test. If you haven't done so already, please go ahead and take a moment to pause the video, work this problem out on your own, unpause it, and we will look at our answers together. So we have a contractor's total earnings, includes a fixed amount plus an amount based on number of hours worked, right? So the fixed amount looks like to be $20 because nothing has been worked, no job has been done, and then it's a fixed amount per hour after that. We have a linear relationship, all right, which means we're going to have a constant rate of change, and that's what we're looking for. It's rate of change. So we're looking for the total earnings in dollars with respect to the number of hours worked. All right, so let's break this down a little bit. With respect to, it's kind of a code word for per. So we want the total earnings in dollars per number of hours worked. And when we have that with this word rate, which is just a form of ratio, we should be thinking, okay, we can make that a fraction. Because that per kind of lets you know where the division part goes. So we need total earnings in dollars. So I'm just going to put dollars per hours. Okay. So that's what we're looking for. We're looking for the rate of change, the dollars per hours. And this change here lets me know that I'm looking for this Greek letter delta. Looks like a triangle. It's actually the Greek letter delta. We use it in math and science to represent change. So I'm looking for the change in the dollars over or per the change in the hours. So my hours right here, right, that is going to be, if we wanted to label this, this is what drives everything. So that means this is my independent variable, right? I start with my number of hours, and depending on that, that's what gets me my total earnings, which means my total earnings is my dependent variable, because that depends on how many hours I work. More hours, more money. So we know that our independent variable is our domain, and typically we are going to represent that with an X. Our dependent variable is our range, and typically we represent that with a Y. So really what I'm looking for is my total money is my Y, so I'm looking for my change in Y, and my hours worked, that's my X, my change in X. Hopefully that looks familiar. Change in Y over change in X. Some of us will call it rise over run. You should be thinking that's the slope. Yeah, if we were to graph this, we would be looking for the slope. That's what the rate of change is looking for, is the slope. All right, so we know what that equation looks like. Y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 over x sub 1. So let's just pick two x coordinates and two y coordinates. All right, and I will pick, you know what, I want to pick this right here. I'm just looking at my decimals, and I just don't want any kind of decimal in my answer. So if these two have a 0.25 at the end, right, I know that it's going to give me a nice, at least whole number. So I'm going to label these x sub 1, x sub 2, make sure they match up with your y sub 1, y sub 2. And then here we go. We've got 326.5. I'm just going to drop the 0. Minus 151. Let's see, it's 0.25. Let's make sure we get that correct. There we go. Over 35 minus 15. All right, so if we pull out our calculators, really it's going to be just the 326 minus the 151, right? Because the 0.25s cancel each other out. So 326 minus 151, it's going to equal 175. And then that's over 20, right? So my 175 over 20 is, if we really wanted to, right, we could move a decimal there. We could say 17.5 over 2, right? And then you got to think, well, what cut in half? What is cut in half of 17.5? And that's going to be 8.75 or $8.75. My answer is F.